Hey guys, Wyatt Claypool here. You love to see it. I love seeing political operatives make absolute fools of themselves because they thought they were true political sharks, when in fact they're just a bunch of lame staffers trying to pull off a stupid trick so that they can get a promotion. I'm not sure if you've seen this, but some liberal staffers or operatives tried to plant these buttons at the Canada Strong and Free Network conference going on in Ottawa to try and smear conservatives as mega Republicans who are going to deny the election. And there's tons of infighting going on, and everyone agrees with Corey Tanaki that the conservative HQ was doing a bad job. It's embarrassing and they got exposed for it, which means it is now a bad news story for the liberals because the liberals tried to push the absolute lamest attempt to cheat the election by planting false evidence against their opponents. The story actually came out from the CBC. I give Kate McKenna a lot of credit because she followed this lead from just overhearing these two morons speaking in an Ottawa area bar. I'm going to give some advice to sleazy political actors out there. If you want to do some sleazy political action, don't talk about it in an Ottawa area bar. This is like if you were trying to undermine like national security in the United States and you plot in the coffee shop in the Pentagon. What are you doing? Everyone in the bar is a political staffer, another political operative, or it's a journalist. And even though most legacy media journalists would have just let it go because they probably support the liberals, Kate McKenna did not let it go and followed up on it. So, very good work to Kate McKenna. I'm going to have this article linked in the description below as well as pinned at the top of the comments. Something I want to comment on as well is just the subhead here. I'm going to get to that in just a second. I do just want to do my normal plug. Hey guys, if you like this channel, make sure to like the video, subscribe if you're not yet a subscriber, leave a comment. What do you think about the story I'm talking about today? I always like to scroll through and see what people are saying. So, do that, and I'll always make sure to try and get back to some people if I see a common theme throughout the comments. But look at the subhead. So after the official headline, Liberal Operatives Plant Stop the Steal Buttons at Conservative Conference, the subhead says, Liberal Party says campaigners regrettably got carried away with use of buttons. So these people are confirmed to be Liberal Party campaigners. These aren't just some rogue staffers who work for some backbench MP and they were trying to pull off some big op and they got made fools of for their trouble. No, these are Liberal Party campaigners in the Ottawa area, potentially working in Mark Carney's riding of Nepean or Pierre Poilievre's riding of Carleton. I don't know. But when they said that they got carried away, aren't you kind of giving away the game a little bit that this, in fact, may have been part of an overall liberal strategy to smear the conservatives? Because that's kind of what the liberals have been doing up to this point, but these two operatives just, went a little too far. But the liberals generally liked 80% of the idea, just not the part where, frankly, they got caught. I do just want to quickly jump down to what the Liberal Party said. So we see this right here in the article. It says Liberal spokesperson Kevin Lemke said the party has conducted a review of the matter and that the leader Mark Carney had made it clear this does not fit his commitment to serious and positive discourse. Have you guys noticed serious and positive discourse by Carney in this campaign? I've noticed it being very hysterical and anti-American for the most part. I know we're Canadians and that we should support Canada, but I have never appreciated the idea that to be a Canadian nationalist, you then have to constantly slag the Americans, our closest allies. I'm a Canadian patriot, so I want Canada and its allies to be better every single day in the best way possible. But the quote goes on and it says, it's unfortunate but not surprising. Oh, I think this is the Canada Strong and Free spokesperson. They say it's unfortunate but not surprising that the Liberals would seek to misrepresent the views of attendees at our conference. These divisive, gimmicky tactics say more about the Liberals than they do about the united, growing conservative movement. And that is absolutely correct. Alex Spence is correct that what the Liberals are really exposing about themselves is how petty they are. The fact they don't have anything to run on. If you have to try and artificially plant things to generate a scandal for the other party, then you don't have a clear you don't have a clear kill shot on that party. You don't really have anything to say about them that's that bad if you have to make things up in order to say bad things about them. And let's be clear, even if not a single attendee had seen that button and decided to put one on, that liberal operative would have taken a photo probably of the buttons that they placed there themselves and said, look what people at the CSFN conference were putting on their table. That's very concerning. Ooh, it's almost like they want Canada to be the 51st state. They would have done it because we have had pettier, stupider things being done in this election than even that. I want to get now to some social media reaction. I don't usually want to be the guy who fills up a video of just reading other people's tweets, but this is quite good. I just want to comment on these two things that people were talking. The two posts that Adam Zivo had put up. Great conservative campaigner out there who campaigns against safe supply around Canada. So he sums up the story here saying, two liberal staffers made fake Trump-style buttons and planted them at a conservative conference last week. They were exposed after they discussed the plot at an Ottawa bar and were overheard by CBC reporter. Misleading the public this way is deplorable and inexcusable. And then I just want to jump up to this other post that he made about it because it's very telling about the hardcore liberal in Canadian politics right now. So he starts commenting on what happened on Reddit when some people started posting about the story on subreddits that are heavily, heavily stacked with a lot of Canadian left-wing progressives. So Adam Zivo says, this story is being downvoted into oblivion within Canada's progressive subreddits, Canada Politics and On Guard for Thee, where users are claiming that the reporting is false and unsubstantiated. Fascinating behavior from people who normally condemn election disinformation. But they're just following the lead of Mark Carney, who, like his predecessor Justin Trudeau, will basically say you can't believe everything published in the Globe and Mail as soon as the Globe and Mail, a very liberal paper, reports something that they don't like. There's a pattern of this in liberal circles that if even mainstream news reporting goes against them, it suddenly becomes fake news when they're the same ones who attack conservatives when the same legacy media papers put out actual smear stories about conservatives, guilt by association, innuendo nonsense. If you don't like that story and you're a conservative, you're just some sort of right-wing troll. But the CBC puts out a story where they had actual verification that this was a false flag, and it's misinformation and disinformation, and Kate McKenna should be put on an ice float and let starve out at sea. It's absolutely pathetic. And if you don't know, if you're on Reddit, if you ever use Reddit, you shouldn't use Reddit. The worst thing you can be called in this world is a Redditor. But if you downvote something, it's not like on YouTube where it doesn't matter if you like or dislike a video, although I do like likes on my videos. Disliking a video doesn't bury it because it just demonstrates that there's discourse about a video, that there's strong reactions about a video. On Reddit, because it's such a left-wing censorious platform, if people don't like a story, they can just mass downvote it so that nobody actually sees it on their timeline. It's absolutely pathetic. That's why I really do not like apps like Reddit, and there's just constantly people on it that are like trying to like pump themselves up. By the way, I love that this story included a button that had Jenny Byrne's name crossed out and had Corey Tenike's put underneath, as if any conservative, especially at a more ideological event like the Canada Strong and Free Network, are very anti-Jenny Byrne but very pro Corey Tenike. I'm not saying that people are pro Jenny Byrne. It's that nobody cares. Nobody cares about the difference between these two campaign directors and them fighting. They're trying to like start this. You can tell that political operatives put this whole operation together. This was not organic because only a political operative would think that there is infighting over who likes Jenny Byrne and who likes Corey Tenike. Most conservatives don't probably like either of them because both of them tend to be more red Tories, and people at a conference like CSFM are just going to say like, well, who cares? Who would wear a button like that and then stop the steal? Stealing what? What conservative has actually said anything about rigging an election? In fact, there actually is election issues in Canada, but it's around the Liberals working with basically the Chinese Communist Party and allowing candidates to run with CCP connections as well as connections to Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps from Iran. You can do that. Who is the guy? Maja Jahari, that's the liberal MP who has the strong Iranian government regime connections. And then you have people like Paul Chang they got rid of, replaced him with this Wan Yoon guy who also has CCP connections. That Baines guy in BC has CCP connections. Mary New has CCP connections. There is literally CCP front groups trying to pump up liberal candidates, drive out students from mainland China to force them to go and volunteer to hurt conservatives. There's actual election issues in Canada, but even then, the Conservatives are usually sanguine and nice enough to not even go to the level of saying it's cheating. They mostly just call it out as election foreign interference, and the Liberals never deal with it. And it's hilarious that the Liberals would then go to the operatives would then try and plant evidence that the Conservatives are saying stop the steal. They've never done it, and in fact, you guys are cheating, and they're nice enough not to mention it. And you guys couldn't even find a conservative willing to wear that. It's ridiculous. I love this post from JJ McCullough where he says, next you'll be telling me these official conservative party, these aren't conservative party buttons either. And he did this AI generated image of 3 buttons that says, I am a proud boys. And one says, let's all do political violence. And another one says, I love Trump more than Canada. Because these are some of the other buttons that were also put out on the tables. Danielle Smith for CPC Leader 2026, Free Alberta, Make Canada Great Again, which I don't know exactly how that would be bad, Lock Justin Up, and a vote for Carney is a vote for Wexit. Yeah, the fact that you thought that this was going to work proves you shouldn't work in politics. In fact, you probably shouldn't work in anything. You seem too stupid to eat. You may need assistance doing basic day-to-day tasks. So yeah, it demonstrates the Liberals got nothing. Now I just want to move on to another video because I love this lady's videos. I love myself some Laura Babcock clips. So we're going to end this video off with this 22-second video of Laura Babcock having yet another panic attack on camera, talking about why Mark Carney is so much better than Pierre Poilievre.
I'm a business owner. I value results over bullshit. I value success over ambition.
Right.
I want a leader who can get it done, who doesn't just yell and tilt at windmills, who actually gets it done. And we have watched Mark Carney getting it done.
What is she even talking about? Is she actually comparing the Mark Carney to Pierre Poilievre, that Carney got rid of the carbon tax and has done some extremely minor policy shifts? It's almost like he's the prime minister, and Pierre Poilievre is the opposition leader. What was he supposed to wrestle the pen out of Mark Carney's hand to sign that he, in fact, was the one who wanted the carbon tax to go? Everyone knows that Poilievre was the one who was pushing to get rid of the carbon tax, and Mark Carney and the Liberals caved to the demand and eventually did it themselves, pretending that this was all their idea. This is the average Liberal voter in terms of the hardcore, never going to change their mind Liberal voter, thinking that that Carney is just more qualified because he's wielding power. Yeah, he's in charge right now. Of course, he's wielding power. And she starts that off with saying, well, I'm a business owner. Apparently, her business is not selling lithium or Xanax because she is never calm and collected in these videos. Business owner, no, I reject the claim that she is a business owner. If she does, she is a delusional business owner, thinking that somehow Carney's been getting it done when he's been the economic advisor for 5 years and has helped hollow out Canada's economy. In fact, Carney, also somebody who helped run a business, an investment firm, moved his business down to the United States and has 3 tax havens, 2 in Bermuda and 1 in the Cayman Islands. That's getting it done. She just doesn't care. These people are just willing to say things. Anyway, so that should be it for me today, guys. I'm actually boarding a plane tomorrow. I'll probably film something else before I go tomorrow, but I'm boarding a plane to go to Ottawa myself to investigate the button scandal. Not actually. I'm going to Ottawa to go door knock in probably the ridings of Nepean and Kanata. Maybe I'll also go to Poilievre's riding of Carleton for a day just for the fun of it. If you live in the Ottawa area and you want to volunteer, I will probably be bouncing around the office in Nepean at Barbara Ball's office on the 15th to the 20th. So if you want to come door knocking with me, you want to do any campaign organizing with me, show up. I'm just volunteering. I'm not an important person, but if you've never door knocked before, maybe swing by at some point and I will show you the ropes, teach you how to do it. I haven't door knocked this campaign, so I feel bad. I am in Calgary, so it does make it hard to find a riding that isn't like a 45-minute drive away that I can go help out in. So make sure you swing by, send me an email about it or not. I actually have like a pile of 50 emails. I'm sorry if you ever email me and it takes me a while to get back to you. Sometimes my email app closes and I don't realize it's closed. I open it, I have like 50 emails. Like, okay, I'm going to have to do this in 10 email chunks per day until I'm caught up. So maybe email me, maybe don't, because you might not have me get back to you right away. But anyway, so that's it for me today, guys. See you later.